Hello and welcome to our Circle and Salve Women. Today we are going to continue discussing what type of man do you have. Last week I felt like I just need to briefly summarize what we discussed last week since it was a very long version of it. Today we're going to summarize it, shorten it up a bit just so that we can get straight to the point of the 4 components that we had discussed last week. The very first one is, do you have a boy or do you have a man? Now, we're always thinking to ourselves, well, is there a neutral piece? Absolutely, because we're, some of us, we're like, we kind of want both, right? Of whatever's on the left and whatever's on the right. We just want that good balance in the person. So let's think about the first one. Do you have a boy or do you have a man? A boy is someone who's like, I don't want responsibilities. I just want to have a good time. I want to go ahead and live life and not have any worries at all. And some of us choose that type of life. Some of us just go, okay, let's just go about it and enjoy everything that comes along. Let's not worry about any of our responsibilities. Let's not hold ourselves accountable for anything. Let's just have a good time. And so in that case, that is a person that accepts, the fun things in life and doesn't want to deal with any of the worries. And so that is initially what we think of as having a boy, because that's what they want, is just having that understanding that life is just about having a good time. Whereas on the other end, the man is thinking, wait, hold on, I've got to be responsible not just for myself, but for those affected with my existence. Of every action that I then commit to, what will that lead to for those around me? And will it be good? Will it be good enough? Will it be something that will be effective, impactful, and then reach us to a level of success? And so there's really that accountability. There's that heaviness of responsibility in a man, in thinking it is up to me to make sure that I spearhead this in the right direction. So again, that neutrality, where it right in the middle, you may have someone who's childish at times, knows how to have a good time. And yet when the going gets tough, when it's time to go to work, it's like, okay, break time over, let's go. I've got to focus on what I need to do so that we can then rise to a higher level, and it's time. Right? So that is the first one. The second one that I discussed was, do you have a player or do you have a family man? A player, now I will go into saying that both could be a player. And we're going to go into that again. That would be that neutrality in the middle. But in this case, a player on the extreme end is just a person that just wants to have, again, a good time. This time playing games, right? Going out there and just going about it and playing, let's just say being a ball player and going out there and having a good time and not really thinking to commit to just one team though. They're out there playing all courts. They're just like, look, I just want to play ball and I just want to go ahead, and it doesn't matter who's playing with me. If you're down with me, let's go. And so that player mentality is one that doesn't really like to commit to any team. It's more of like, just, you know what, I'll play when it's time to play, and then when it's time for me to get out, I'm going to move on. If this is getting old for me, if this is not the team that I thought it was going to be, and then my expectation of it is not what I want it to be, I'm going to move on to a different team, and you're going to have to be okay with that because this is who I am. I am a player. And so in that case, they're all about the game, about just playing from one to another and not essentially committing to a team. They are more about just having a good time. On the other end of that is that family man that says, I want to commit though. I want what a team that I can call my own, and I want to hold myself accountable for that. Whatever action that I take upon is going to then have an effect on my team, and so therefore I can hold myself accountable and then really put into the regards of everything that I am going to be doing, how much practice time I commit to, what time of the day that I wake up, and what time do I go to bed at night. What is it that will make my family, in this case my team, be better? Because they are trying to be that GOAT. They really want to make sure that not only that will they consider themselves to be the GOAT, but that those around them will go, wow, this is the person that has taken us to this level. And, thank you for really never giving up, just persevering and sticking with just one team. And yes, we've had our losses at times, and we bump our heads at times, and we may not even look at you as the GOAT of the team at times, but at the end of it, you know how to commit, and you have stayed here, whether, through thick or thin, whether we were drowning, you kept us up above high waters, and you kept us going. And that is that family man mentality. Now, again, there's that middle ground where you have to ask yourself, okay, hold on. That doesn't mean that they don't know how to play a game. A family man could be, again, that player, that GOAT that says, just because I am about playing, it doesn't mean I don't know how to win and have that mentality to win. So while a player just says, win or lose, I don't care what you think of me. I'm just going to go ahead and play. And if this team doesn't win, I'm going to go ahead to another team and play. And then if that team doesn't win, I'm going to go ahead and play. And there's that, maybe non-accountability also of what they're putting into the team to either make it win or lose. Whereas the family man says, look, I'm playing to win. And if something goes wrong, I know that I had an impact on that just as much as if something goes right. And so again, that middle ground and making sure that they, that we understand there's that player mentality, but are you playing to win as one team, or are you not caring to win at all? The next one that I had mentioned was, is he a lover or is he a fighter? Again, we're going to go right back to that middle, but let's talk about that extreme first. A lover is someone that just wants peace. They really are all about loving those around them, and no fighting, no bickering, no battling. Let's just be in peace. Let's love one another, and let's be in harmony, and let's just make certain that we never have, to fight one another, because fighting is not something that is in their category to even desire. And so they would rather just be in a pleasant environment, and so they are there to please, to make sure that everyone is happy, that everyone is comfortable, and at sometimes to their expense of saying, okay, I'm willing to give up, what makes me happy, because I just want to love you, and I just want to make sure that you are happy, because I know if you're happy, then everyone is happy, and then therefore there's not going to be any fighting, there's not going to be any bickering, and we're all in peace and all is well. On the other end, you have that fighter says, no, you do it my way, and we are going to do it this way. I don't care what you have to say. I'm not hearing anything you have to say, because we will fight to the very end if you're not doing as I say. And, having no regard for anybody else's feelings other than their own. And they will fight and fight and fight with you all the time, to a point where then you will be spent and you will be exhausted of the fight, and then you will be the one then to surrender, because that person is fighting, really, if they say fight to the death, but not in that manner of, physically, right? It's more of that spiritually and mentally, of just getting you to that level of surrender and saying, you know what, let's just do what he says, because at this point, him fighting us is not going to get us to a place of peace if we fight back. And so that surrender of someone against someone who is a fighter. Now, in the middle of that is where someone knows how to love, and yet someone knows also how to respect and reciprocate that love with others around them, those that are in their inner circle, and saying, look, you know what? Yes, I want peace, but I also know that if our back is against a wall, I'm going to fight. And I'm going to fight knowing that if anyone tried to put any harm within my circle, or anyone was trying to create any problems within my circle, you best believe that I am going to be doing something about it. Yes, I want peace. Yes, I want to promote peace. Yes, I want to make sure that everyone in my circle is in peace. But if there's any troubles that arise, I also know that I'm going to handle it. I'm going to make sure that I handle it well to the best of my ability. So there's that middle ground again of asking yourself, all right, which extreme is it, or do we have that right in the middle? And there's your middle. The very last one is, I'm going to preface it in this way, is who loves whom more? Does he love you, or do you love him more. And I know that's a strange, perhaps to some of you, piece to put in, but you really have to ask yourself, does he love you to a point where, again, that lover mentality to the extreme of they're willing to give it everything, right? Everything, to a point where they are willing to give up their self-respect, their dignity, just to be complacent to a level where you will then be happy. And then all of a sudden it's like, there's that saying of being a doormat where you're stepping on them over and over and they keep taking you back. And they know that you are wrong, and that you are saying perhaps to yourself, you know what, this guy knows I'm wrong, and yet he keeps taking me back. And that is that extreme love for a person. And in this case, a woman, where you're like, you know what, you have done me wrong so many times, and yet I'm still taking you back. And they will perhaps come to admit to it, knowing that this is who you are, and that you continue to take advantage of that situation, taking them for granted, and in not even taking into account their emotions any longer, because it's gotten to a point where you feel powerful knowing that you have that control over them, knowing that no matter what mistake you make, whatever actions you take upon to maybe even ruin the relationship, they are willing to stay. On the other end of that is then you loving them to a point where you become the doormat. You are then saying to yourself, you know what, I love him so much that I am willing to lose my self-respect. I'm willing to lose my dignity. I'm willing to lose all of me, and I won't argue. I won't do anything other than what he tells me to do, because this is my love for him, and I want to show that I can make him happy. So you have to ask yourself, well, what is in the middle of that? And this is why I added that in, is both of you have mutual respect for each other. Doesn't mean you can't bump heads. Doesn't mean that you can't stand up for what you believe is to be right, but that you should not feel at all that, every time you're giving in, and that there are times where there are times where you need him to give in and he doesn't, because he sees that there's that power within himself to go, you know what, she's already doing everything I'm telling her to do, and I'm just going to keep taking advantage of it, and having her know that this is how it's going to be. So think about that love, and think about that neutrality, going again to every middle ground of each and every one of those, of having a boy versus a man, of having a player versus a family man, of having a lover versus a fighter, and then asking who loves who more. Do you love him more, or does he love you more, or is it right in the middle? So that again, there is that growth. There is that growth for both of you to strive for a better tomorrow. Because even if you feel wonderful today, there may be some obstacles and challenges that you will run into, and then you'll have to ask yourself, well, what do we do now? And if again, you're looking at the character of the person that you have, will they then be able to go with the flow with you, and strive with you, and be challenged with you? What type of man do you have is what you have to ask yourself in today's discussion, and then work with it so that you're in peace with whatever you've chosen, and that there is hope for you to work toward the side that you would want. Just don't lose yourself along the way. Don't lose your self-respect. Don't lose your self-dignity. Don't lose your love for yourself. At the same rate, don't go over your head and take for granted on the other end of who is trying to love you and respect you, what your wishes, in trying to promote peace and that togetherness and that forever with you. In the words of my mother, God bless us all. Keep loving you, keep loving life, embrace you. Again, don't give yourself permission to think, your 80% is your 100 today. No matter what, just keep trying to be the best of you and best of you for those around you, and life will be continue to be good. You've got this, one day at a time, one moment at a time. We'll see you next time. Thank you.